The hunger is a stone in Kale's belly, a cold, heavy thing that has been there for 3 suns. He lies flat on the hot rock of the escarpment, the coarse sandstone biting into his skin, and watches the river. Below, the world is a vibrant, merciless green, a ribbon of life he is forbidden to touch. They had cast him out with stones and angry shouts, his own clan, after the disastrous hunt where Oleg fell. It was his fault, they screamed, his hesitation. Their ghosts hunt him as much as the gnawing in his gut. This is his new reality, a footnote in the brutal saga of hominid history, a solitary creature on an earth that does not want him. He is Homo habilis, the tool maker, but here, his sharpened flints feel like children's toys. The air is thick, smelling of wet mud and decay. Down by the water, long-necked plesiosaurs move with a sinister grace, their heads poised coping above the surface before vanishing with a silent ripple. But they are not the kings of this domain. The king is something else entirely. Kale feels its presence before he sees it. The ground gives a low, resonant shudder, a vibration that travels from the riverbank, up the cliff face, and into his bones. Then it emerges from the dense cycad forest. The Spinosaurus. It is a monster born of nightmares, far larger than any carnosaur of the dry plains. Its hide is a mosaic of grey and dark green, slick with river water, and from its back rises the impossible sail, a horrifying banner of flesh and bone held taut against the sky. The creature's head is long like a crocodile's, studded with conical teeth designed for one purpose. It moves with a terrifying confidence, a lumbering gait that speaks of absolute, unchallenged dominion. It wades into the murky water, the river parting around its immense legs. For a long moment, it stands perfectly still, a statue of predatory patience. Kale's heart hammers against his ribs. Every instinct screams at him to flee, to retreat into the arid scrubland where at least the threats are familiar, where the raptor packs can be seen and heard from a distance. But the scrubland is picked clean. There are no roots left to dig, no lizards slow enough to catch. The river is death. This is the cruel paradox of prehistoric life, a truth that feels as sharp and real as the flint knife tucked into his loincloth. He watches as the great beast lowers its head, the tip of its snout just touching the water's surface, waiting. He is witnessing the master at work, a living, breathing answer to the question of what if dinosaurs were still alive. A tightening in his chest as this one-sided dinosaur documentary unfolds in crushing reality. Days bleed into a grueling routine of terror and observation. Kale retreats to the high rocks during the brightest sun, a ghost haunting the edges of the river valley, and descends into the scrub at dusk to scavenge for anything his clan missed. He watches the Spinosaurus with a morbid, obsessive focus. It is the center of this prehistoric world, the axis on which all other life here turns. He sees not just a predator, but a system. He witnesses how dinosaurs hunted in this ecosystem. Not with brute force alone, but with a terrifying intelligence. The beast does not patrol the whole river. It has specific spots, bends in the current where the water runs faster and deeper, funneling the shoals of fish into a narrow channel. There it will wait for hours, its long snout submerged, its patience absolute. Kale sees it happen again and again. The flash of silver bodies in the water, a chaotic swarm driven by the current. The dinosaur doesn't lunge into the mass. Instead, it makes a subtle shift, using its immense bulk to create a partial dam, a wall of flesh that confuses the lead fish. They panic, turning back into the main channel, right where its jaws are waiting. Snap! A thrashing of water, and the beast lifts its head, a massive, shimmering fish impaled on its teeth. It is an ambush predator of unparalleled efficiency. This is a living lesson in paleontology, a truth written in water and blood, not stone. The great sail, the extension of its neural spine, catches the morning light, making it look like some terrible god of the river. One afternoon, as the gnawing in his stomach becomes a blinding pain, something shifts in Kale's mind. The terror is still there, a cold knot in his gut, but another feeling pushes through it. Comprehension. The fear recedes just enough for a thought to form, a spark of revolutionary clarity. He does not have the beast's eyes. He does not have its jaws, but he has hands. He has a mind that can see a pattern. The dinosaur uses its body to build a wall. Kale looks at the piles of driftwood and fallen branches choking the smaller inlets along the riverbank. He looks at the sharpened spear he made, not for hunting, but for defense. A plan, fragile and insane, begins to stitch itself together in his thoughts. This is the seed of primitive technology, an idea born from staring into the jaws of a monster. He can build his own wall. A smaller one. A trap. The concept is so alien, so far beyond the simple smash and grab of his former life, that it almost frightens him more than the dinosaur itself. It's a leap across a chasm in thinking, a pivotal moment in the slow, agonizing climb of human evolution. He can use the river's own power against its children. He works in a fever of desperate energy, his movements quick and furtive, his ears straining for the telltale of the approaching beast. He chooses a small tributary, a fast-flowing channel half hidden by ferns, too shallow for the river king but active with fish. For hours he hammers sharpened branches into the thick mud of the streamid, his knuckles raw and bleeding. He drives them in at an angle, creating a V-shaped fence that points downstream, the opening wide, the tip narrowing to a gap just wide enough for his arm. It is grueling, heart-stopping work. Every splash in the main river sends a jolt of pure terror through him. He is a thief, stealing not just food, but an idea from the apex predator that rules this valley. This frantic construction is more than just labor. It's the physical manifestation of a cognitive breakthrough, a defining chapter in the undocumented annals of early humans. When it is done, he retreats into the undergrowth, his body trembling with exhaustion and fear. He waits. The sun beats down, and then he sees it. A small shoal, panicked by a shadow on the main river, darts into the tributary for safety. They swim with the current, directly into the wide mouth of his weir. As the channel narrows, they become confused. A frantic, silver mass bumping against the wooden stakes, unable to turn back against the flow. They are trapped. His hands shaking and pulls them out one by one, their bodies slick and fighting. It works. The simple, beautiful, terrifying idea works. That night he eats until the stone of hunger in his belly finally dissolves, the taste of cooked fish a revelation. By the third day he has a surplus. A pile of fish gutted and drying on the hot rocks represents a wealth of protein his clan has never known. He is safe. He is fed. He could live here in the shadow of the sail. A hermit king of his clan haunts him. He sees their hollowed eyes, the desperation of the hunters returning with nothing, the slow, grinding starvation that is their constant companion. They cast him out, but they are his people. To survive alone is to let the idea die with him. To return is to offer them a future. This single thought, this altruistic impulse, is a force more powerful than the instinct for self-preservation. It is the moment a lone creature's struggle becomes the story of human evolution. He strings the largest of the dried fish onto a length of vine, shoulders the precious cargo, and turns his back on the river. He walks not as the outcast Kale, but as a messenger, carrying a spark of consciousness stolen from a monster, a gift of fire for the long, dark history of his people. This was not a war won with tooth and claw, but with a quiet, terrified act of observation. Kale's story is not recorded in any fossil record, not etched into any bone. It is an echo, a ghost of a possibility in the long silence of hominid history. It represents the moment our ancestors stopped being merely reactive survivors and became proactive engineers of their own fate. They looked upon the most dangerous dinosaurs, the living mountains of flesh and teeth that ruled the prehistoric world, and saw not just a threat to be avoided, but a process to be understood, a system to be hacked. This cognitive leap, from prey to student, from victim to mimic, was the most profound survival skill ever developed. It was the birth of strategy, the dawn of the intellect that would one day build cities of stone and steel and look to the stars. What is the legacy of humanity, if not the courage to stare into the jaws of an impossible predator and see not the reflection of our own fear, but the blueprint for our salvation? This has been an alternate prehistory survival chronicle, where the bones of the earth tell stories of the courage that refused to be fossilized. But some lessons are not learned from the water. They are screamed from the sky.